Thank you very much for coming. I'm Joan Rose. I'm chair of the Committee on Management of Legionella in Water Systems. I'm from Michigan State University. Very happy to be here and be part of this introduction to our statement of tasks. Just housekeeping. The sign-up sheet is in the foyer where you came in, so please sign up, and especially for open mic. We will have 4 presentations today from CDC, EPA, Veterans Administration Affairs, and Sloan Foundation are sponsors of the study to give us an overview. I'd like the committee just to stand up real quickly and let the people here know who you are, your name and your affiliation, just so they can place a name with a face. And let's just start and go down the line. Chuck?
Chuck Hollis, Drexel University.
Amy Curtin, Virginia Tech.
John Lutson, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Kansas, sir.
Jeff Cable, West Texas, Montreal.
Yes, Paul.
Paul from Louisiana, New York, and Inland.
Steve Bergen, Dale Cancer, Carolina,
Michelle Swanson, University of Michigan.
Richard Elliott, New York City Department of Health.
Nick Asheville, School of Public Health, University of Alberta.
I'm Marcos Wyatt. For those who haven't had an memo, I've retired from American Water. I'm my own private.
Bruce Bartleman, Emory University. Matthew Weeks from Legionella, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
And our study director.
I'm Laura Ehlers. I'm study director for the project with the National Academies, and I don't know if our 6 committee members in the second row might want to move to the second row. It's up to you, but if we start to have a space crunch at our 3 instances, that's very beginning. Ready?
Right, and we do have a microphone. All right, so I am the timekeeper. I've met with our speakers, so they know I'm sitting here up in front, and we'll try to keep things on time. If we have enough time, we will have a Q&A after each presentation if we have enough time for some discussion. But right now, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Laura Ehlers.
I think if everyone in the audience actually could introduce themselves for the record, that would be, you don't have to stand, just maybe we can start here and go down each row, that'd be very helpful.
Several places.
Let's, since it's going to go on the record, we can pass the mic.
Sam Posner, CDC. Brian Raphael, CDC.
Jason Kuntz, CDC.
Laura Cooley, CDC.
Stig Regley, CDC.
A little slip there, EPA.
Ken Ruddard, APA.
Paula Olszewski, Alfred P. Sloan Foundation.
Elena James, I'm an ORISE Fellow at DHS.
Gary Roselle, Department of Veterans Affairs.
Meredith Ambrose, Department of Veterans Affairs.
Shantini Gamage, Department of Veterans Affairs.
Crystal Rogers Jenkins, EPA Office of Groundwater and Drinking Water.
Bill Esposito, Ambient Group, New York. Robert O'Donnell, Aquanomics.
Erin Laird, National Association of County and City Health Officials.
Darren Klein with the Alliance to Prevent Legionnaires' Disease.
Matt London, also with the Alliance.
Brad Considine, also with the Alliance.
Ola Kowalski, Department of Veterans Affairs.
Catherine Alfredo, Research Program Manager at DC Water.
Alan Robertson with the Association of State Drinking Water Administrators.
Stephanie Schley with the Association of Metropolitan Water Agencies.
Steve Vai, American Water Works Association.
Salome Freud, New York City Department of Environmental Protection.
Frank Sideri with Special Pathogens Laboratory.
Marisa Tricas, Office of Groundwater Drinking Water, EPA.
Lauren Kasparic, EPA.
Nicole Tucker, EPA.
Eric Winston with Environmental Protection Agency.
Matt Sigler, Plumbing Manufacturers International.
Felix Bacci, ExxonMobil Biomedical Sciences.
Tim Keene, Legionella Risk Management.
Laura Cobb, EPA Office of Radiation and Indoor Air.
William Rhodes, Virginia Tech.
Rebecca Martin, Virginia Tech.
Yang Song, Virginia Tech.
And we also have 75 people joining us online today from across the country, Canada, and other countries in the world.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome to everyone who's here in person and in the virtual world. We appreciate it. This is a very important topic. It's near and dear to many people's hearts, and thinking about water quality and health and how we look at what happens in our distribution systems and our premise plumbing and our buildings. So we're very pleased you're here. We're pleased to have our sponsors here to talk to us this afternoon. Laura?
Thank you all for being here. Remy, am I controlling or are you controlling?
You're controlling.
I'm controlling? Pointed at you.
25 to me.
This might be dead. Why don't you control it?
Okay.
So I'd like to give a brief introduction before we launch into the presentations from our 4 sponsoring organizations. So many of you have been involved in some way. Perhaps you've read a report of the National Academies, or you might have served on a committee, or you might have given a presentation at some point in the past. Many of you, however, have not. And so I'd like to provide an introduction just so that you understand more about our organization, how we operate, how this study will proceed over the next 24 months. All that'll be brief, and what your role in it is today. So the National Academy of Sciences is a very old organization. If you have a chance, maybe during the lunch hour, I recommend that you get up, walk down the hall, all the way to the other end, and take a peek into our boardroom, which has a large portrait on the right-hand wall of the enactment of the charter for the National Academies, which was back during the Lincoln administration in 1863. The event as depicted in the picture didn't really exactly occur that way, but that's what we like to show people as the origins of our organization, which at that time was really a group of preeminent scientists with a small advisory role, but it didn't really, the advisory function of the academies didn't really begin until World War I, when Woodrow Wilson created the National Research Council to be the working arm of the academies. Remy, have we got maybe, no? It's okay. Thank you. The second slide, that one, there you go. During the First World War, the National Research Council was created to be the working arm of the academies. You'll see in this very simple chart, the National Research Council, the NRC, is at the bottom, denoting the working function. It's crossed out because we don't use that acronym anymore, but you may, if you're looking for a report of the academies, anything prior to 2014 would say National Research Council, and that's the way all of our reports were cited. So just for your general information. We also have 2 other membership organizations, the National Academy of Engineering, created in '64, and the Institute of Medicine, created in 1970, which has also been renamed to be the National Academy of Medicine. And with this renaming that happened 4 years ago, now we refer to the whole ensemble as the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, and our reports are now cited under that acronym of NASEM. So anything written from 2014 on will look a little bit different. And we have 2 primary functions. The first is to advance science and technology in the United States, and the second is the advisory role, primarily for the federal government, but we do studies for state and local governments, for nonprofit organizations, for other regional entities. So our role is broader than just working for the federal government. I want to try to help you appreciate what is unique about a study of the National Academies as compared to a product that you might get, for example, from a consulting firm or other expert body. First of all, we draw on the membership of the 3 academies to help populate committees whenever possible. This study has 2 Academy members, Ruth Berkelman and Joan Rose. And of course, there aren't enough Academy members to populate the 1,000 or so studies that we have ongoing at any one time. And so the other people who serve on committees are experts in their field. We are able to get the very best people to serve. It's considered, in many cases, service to your country, if it's for a federal project, an opportunity for people to work across disciplines that they would never have interacted with before. And they're all the people in the front 2 rows today are going to be working on this project in a voluntary capacity. They're not being paid for their time, only for their travel expenses and expenses while they're here. And this is a very special feature of our studies that you probably won't find anywhere else, getting people of this caliber to volunteer their time over such an extended period of time, 21 months, to produce a report. We happen to have a special relationship to the government. You'll often see requests or mandates for an Academy study and pieces of legislation. We also have relationships with most of the major branches of the federal government. This particular study is being run out of what we call the Water Science and Technology Board of the National Academies. And that board has a relationship with almost every department level agency because water is a very broad topic that you'll find just about everywhere. A fourth important point is that we have strict quality control on all of our reports. They go through a lengthy external review process at the end, overseen by members of the Academy and staff. And this greatly improves all of our products and is an extremely important part of our process. So kind of taken together, all of the things you see up here lead to reports that are independent, that are scientifically objective, and that are balanced, and that can have, especially I think in the case of this project, some impact, important impact on future trends for how Legionella is managed in this country. Generally, Academy-wide, we produce about 1 report a day on all topics of science, technology, medicine, social science, education. There's probably been an Academy's report written about something of importance in the last 20 years, and we continue to try to be relevant as things change. I want to just briefly talk about the Water Science and Technology Board, although this study is interdisciplinary in that there are 3 groups of the Academies involved, not only the Water Science and Technology Board, but also the Board on Life Sciences, and then our Health and Medicine Division, because it's an interdisciplinary topic, and so we're hoping to draw on expertise from staff from 3 areas. The Water Science and Technology Board in particular is a group that has been in existence for 35 years. We've written reports on a number of different topics in water. One of our major thrust areas has been drinking water and wastewater. We wrote about Legionella a little bit, I would say, 10 years ago when we produced that middle report, which is the Drinking Water Distribution Systems report. It was the first report where we really kind of looked at premise plumbing and said, what are the inherent risks in premise plumbing, which seems to lie mainly outside the regulatory arena for drinking water. We also have a large body of work in groundwater remediation, hazardous waste cleanup. Some of you might be familiar with some of those reports. We've done work in most major watersheds in the United States, both looking at water demand and aquatic ecosystems in those watersheds. We have a lot of ongoing work. It's over a decade long in the Everglades. We do a lot of work in basic hydrology, have done many reports over the years for the USGS. And finally, I just wanted to let you know that it's not so important in this case because I think that the audience for this report is obvious, as all of you sitting here, I think, are testimony to, but that our reports often have a much broader impact than one might originally anticipate given the nature of the study. So I want to thank all of you for coming. And Remy, if we can just go back to that original slide. Over the course of the next 2 years, if anyone needs to get a hold of a member of the committee or would like to talk to a member of the committee about this study, I would ask that you all please contact me first, and I will organize or set up a discussion if it needs to go to a committee member. My email is there in the middle. Remy, who's on top, you can contact him if you have any administrative questions. For example, how do I access the Zoom file so I can go back and watch this presentation multiple times after I leave Washington, D.C. I know everyone's going to want to do that. When is the next meeting going to be held and where is it? Those kinds of things. Feel free to contact Remy. If any of you have press-related questions, or if you know members of the press that want to talk to the committee members, please go through our Office of News and Public Information. I've put Ria's email at the end. She's the person to contact, and she will facilitate any kind of interactions in that regard. So thank you for coming, and we'll just go ahead and start our first presentation of, I guess it's the morning. I do want to let people know that after the CDC's presentation is completed, we will be taking a break for lunch, which is going to be in the hallway behind you. Then we will be going back into a public session at 1:30 and hearing from our other three sponsors. And there will be an open mic session at the end of the day. And we encourage anyone who wants to speak during the open mic session to please sign up in advance. I believe we have a number of you already signed up. And if you want, if you haven't signed up yet, but you want to speak, either please let Remy know or sign up on the sign-up sheet in the foyer so that we can make sure we have enough time to get through everyone. We are not going to be talking about the comments submitted online by viewers of the Zoom presentation because there's just not enough time. But if you know of someone that submitted comments that way, or you want to submit comments that way yourself, we will be compiling all of those and talking about them in closed session tomorrow. The committee will be meeting in closed session tomorrow for the entire day, thus it is not open to anyone from the public, including the sponsors. And we look forward to seeing you at the second meeting if you're interested, which will be held May 7th to 8th, also here in Washington, D.C. And there will be more information about that meeting emailed to everyone who's on the listserv in the next couple of months. And if you're not a member of the listserv and you would like to become one, please let Remy know. Thank you.